The listing was vague. No interior photos, only 2 shots of the outside, both taken at an angle that hid the windows. The price was suspiciously low for the size. There was no recent record of renovation or ownership. The history stopped after a brief mention of title transfer and probate issues. Most people would have taken that as a red flag. But I took it as an opportunity. I was broke, between jobs. I didn't want to live in another cramped apartment next to paper-thin walls and shouting neighbors. The house sat on a sloped road at the edge of town, surrounded by trees that grew too close and grass that had long stopped caring to be cut. It didn't matter. I moved in the day I got the keys. The house smelled like damp fabric and stale wood. Not mold exactly, but something softer, something older. The wallpaper was torn in places, revealing dark stains that looked too round to be water damage. The stairs creaked like they were being stepped on from the inside, and the doors never closed all the way. None of it was new. Old houses settle, they creak, they breathe. But this one never seemed to exhale. The neighbors were distant. One woman crossed the street when I walked toward her. An older man who had been trimming his hedge turned away mid-sentence when I told him I had moved into the house at the end of the block. It was clear they knew something. No one told me. I noticed the noise on the third night. I was lying in bed upstairs, trying to ignore the weak hum of the hallway light that had been flickering since sunset. It was a soft sound at first, like something shifting weight against wood. It didn't repeat right away, just once. Then silence. Then, again, a little closer. It didn't come from the floor. It came from the wall. I pressed my ear to the plaster. The sound stopped. I stayed like that, not breathing, waiting to hear anything. Then something breathed back. Not loudly, not sharply, just a breath. Long, even, measured. I backed away. That night, I turned on every light I could. I slept with the overhead on and the hallway lamp open. By morning, 3 bulbs had burned out. I replaced them that afternoon. The ones in the bathroom flickered again within an hour. I didn't tell anyone. The tapping returned the following night. Not random. 2 soft knocks. A pause. Then 4. Then silence. I waited. Then 3 more. The breathing came back. Matched to mine at first, then slower, then faster, then completely separate, like something was practicing how to breathe near me. I moved the bed away from the wall. On the 7th night, I saw the door. It hadn't been there before. At the end of the upstairs hall, after the bathroom, where there had only ever been wall, a door frame stood half-shadowed by the weak bulb overhead. The door was thin. Wood cracked at the edges. A tarnished brass handle sat low, like it had been installed for someone shorter than average. I stared at it until the bulb behind me buzzed out. When I looked back, the door was gone. Just wall. I ran my hand across the plaster. No seam, no hinge, no gap. I didn't sleep. The dreams began the next night. Always the hallway. Always walking toward the door. The carpet squished beneath my feet like it was soaked. The wallpaper curled and flaked, revealing something black underneath. Not burnt. Not rotted. Just smooth and wrong. Like polished bone. When I reached the end, the door would open, and I'd see nothing but a staircase going down into dark. Then, I'd wake up. The next morning, the corner of the hallway near the bathroom smelled like wet earth. The wallpaper was peeling for real now. Underneath it, the wall wasn't black. It was pulsing. Softly. Slowly. With a rhythm that matched mine. I covered it with duct tape and moved downstairs. I kept all the lights on. I played music through the night, but I could still hear it. Tapping from inside the walls. Scratching near the vents. The thinnest breath behind the ceiling fan, even when it wasn't on. Then the power went out. Not a surge, Not a flicker. Just complete silence and dark. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and saw something strange. The wallpaper on the stairs had been stripped. The old wood underneath was covered in marks. Thin scratches, lined in careful rows. Not chaotic, not random, more like tally marks. Dozens of them. I walked back up, feeling the floor shift slightly beneath my steps. At the top of the stairs, the hallway stretched longer than before. And the door had returned. This time, it was open. The hallway wasn't supposed to be there. Where the end of the upstairs corridor had always been just wall, there was now a narrow passage stretching deeper into the house. The carpet didn't match the rest of the floor. It was darker, with long faded lines like something heavy had been dragged along it. The walls were smooth, no wallpaper, just aged plaster. The overhead light flickered dimly, and I could hear it buzz like it was struggling to stay alive. The open door didn't creak. It didn't swing. It simply was. I didn't walk through it at first. I stood at the edge and stared into the new space, not able to see the end of it. The air that came through the opening was dry and warm. Not like heat from a vent, but like a breath that had been waiting a long time to be released. Eventually, I stepped forward. The moment I crossed the frame, I felt something shift behind me. I turned. The hallway was gone. Just a wall where the doorway had been. Seamless. Like the house had closed the lid. The lights above me dimmed until they gave up completely. My phone flashlight barely cut through the dark. The hallway bent slightly to the left and narrowed the farther it went. I followed it. The walls felt close. Close enough to hear them. Not sounds. Not voices. Just pressure. Every few steps, I would catch a faint vibration in the floor. Not beneath it. Inside it. Like something was moving through the same boards I walked on, just a little deeper than should be possible. I passed a door on the left. It was half open. The wood was dark and bowed inward, like it had absorbed too much weight. I didn't look inside. I kept walking. At the end of the hall, I reached another room. Square. Small. Windowless. In the center sat a single wooden chair. On the wall behind it were hundreds of blackened fingerprints. Some large, some too small to make sense. All pressed flat against the surface like people had stood here over and over, placing their palms against the same stretch of wall. I turned around and left. Or tried to. But the hallway was gone again. Just more doors now. All closed. No two alike. Some made of wood. Some metal. One with no handle at all. I opened the one closest to me. It led to another hall. This one was narrower, with a ceiling too low. I had to crouch slightly as I moved through it. The walls were damp. My hand brushed one as I turned a corner, and I pulled back fast. There were indentations. Fingers. Pressed into the wall like someone had clawed it from the inside, only there was no damage, just shape. Like the wall had softened around them, then rehardened. I kept going. Eventually, I reached a spiral staircase. It went down, farther than the house should have allowed. I took the first step. It echoed, too loud, like the air below was hollow or waiting. Every few turns, there was a landing with a mirror. Each mirror reflected a different version of the same hallway behind me. One had no door. One had too many. One showed me walking in the distance, even though I stood still. I stopped looking after the third. At the bottom of the stairs was a door. It was breathing. Not open, not moving, but breathing. Slow, pulsing movements, like it was adjusting to the air. There was no knob, just a faint line where it would open. I stood there for a long time, not moving, watching it. Then I blinked, and the door was gone. So was the staircase. I was in my bedroom, sitting on the floor. The lights were off. The window was open. My phone was beside me, with the camera app running, recording the dark. I checked the time. 3 hours had passed. The next morning, the hallway was back to normal. The extra door was gone. The corner where the wallpaper had peeled had healed over. No seam, no glue, no trace of anything missing. But in the back of the closet, I found something new. A single photo. Old, black and white, curled at the corners. It showed a man sitting in a wooden chair in a small square room. Behind him, hundreds of handprints darkened the wall, and the face of the man had been scratched out carefully, not with rage, but with purpose. Like someone wanted to keep the image, but not the memory. I keep the photo locked away now. I haven't had another dream, but the floor sometimes vibrates beneath my bed, and the power flickers every night around 2:17. I've counted.